Gold, paper, and the secret of the disappearance, or how we lost the gold standard. Hi there. Today we're going to tell the story of a king. Not the fairy tale kind, but the king who ruled the entire world of money for centuries. His name, the gold standard. Once upon a time in a picturesque town called Economy, one simple rule held sway. Every banknote had to be backed by real gold. People believed if money is backed by something real, nobody can just print it whenever they feel like it, and they felt safe. But the world changes. Traders wanted growth. Politicians needed cash for grand promises. And economists began whispering, isn't the gold standard a bit old-fashioned? Gold was scarce, and the modern world needed more money than could fit in the vault. Then came 1971. U.S. President Richard Nixon declared, enough. We're ending the dollar for gold exchange. The gold standard just stared. What? So you can print money out of thin air? Have you lost your minds? But it was too late. The old king was deposed, and so money became just symbols. Nothing backs it, only people's faith that it has value. And because everyone believes the system still works, albeit at what cost. Today, the gold standard sits in the corner of history, quietly whispering, maybe if I had stayed, inflation wouldn't hurt so much. And we sometimes ask, shouldn't we have kept it after all? The gold standard, a grand rise and an even greater fall. Long ago, in the golden era of economic stability, one dignified and strict system reigned supreme, the gold standard. It was the aristocrat of the monetary world. It ruled with grace and a rule as clear as the sun. Every banknote must have its gold in the vault. No printing tricks, no money from nothing, just pure, honest exchange. And people believed. They believed their money was not just printed paper, but a literal key to treasure. But as they say, nothing lasts forever. Well, I say youth and glory. In its youth, the gold standard was a superstar. Banks adored it, merchants praised it in letters, and politicians swore by it as the holy grail of stability. Don't worry, they told the people. Your money has real value, and people slept peacefully. Then World War I came, and as often happens in wars, peace vanished. Governments found out that waging war was incredibly expensive. The gold standard said, friends, you can't just print money like that. It doesn't work. Politicians replied, oh yeah, and the printing presses rumbled like a furious cavalry. The gold standard sighed, this is how it starts. The end is closer than you think. So, crisis, drama, and the first blow. After the war, a few countries tried to return to the old golden rules. But it was like gluing porcelain to wood. Then 1929 struck, the Great Depression. Banks fell like dominoes. People fled branches with empty hands, and the economy froze solid. From the ashes, the gold standard called discipline, stability. Trust me, I'll hold the exchange rate. But in a crisis, hunger drowns out discipline. So governments set themselves free, printing more money, raising taxes, abolishing the gold backing. The gold standard watched in horror. This is no longer just a crisis. This is a divorce. Nixon's final slap. The gold standard lingered on, but more as a relic. The post-1944 Bretton Woods system kept it barely alive. The dollar pegged to gold, other currencies pegged to the dollar. It was like, you're no longer king, but you're at least a regent. Then came the fateful year 1971. Richard Nixon appeared on TV and declared, end of gold backing. Dollars for gold? Forget it. The gold standard fell. For good. It closed its eyes and whispered, that was the final blow. What next? We moved to fiat currencies, money without gold backing. Today, value is a matter of faith, belief in the state, the central bank, and sometimes pure optimism. The gold standard now sits in the corner of history, sipping coffee, reading old newspapers, and occasionally lamenting, if only they hadn't sent me to the gallows. Inflation wouldn't hurt so much today. The fiat revolution. Wait, this isn't backed by gold? When the gold standard was thrown off its throne in 1971, the world rocked like a ship without an anchor. Money once proudly tied to gold suddenly became something intangible. Fiat currency. It has value because the government says so. The gold standard sat somewhere in history's corner, nursing old rum, and observed, well, this ought to be fun. The wild 70s, fiat off-the-chain governments, now free from gold's oversight, began printing money with the joy of a child finding a magic printer. Central banks gleefully planned, need growth? Print it. Need more investment? Print some more. But as any good horror storyteller knows, every spell comes at a price. Inflation crept through the streets, slowly, quietly. Then it roared. Shoppers shrieked when yesterday's loaf of bread now cost $2. Gas, 3 times the price. Wages, stuck in place. the economy got whacked, and it wouldn't be the last time. As if that wasn't enough, the 1973 oil shock hit. Arab nations turned the taps, saying, "You want our oil? Pay up, more." Energy prices soared, economies choked, and fiat currency, the fresh new experiment, stumbled. The gold standard in the shadows chuckled, and they thought they didn't need me. The eighth decade, Volcker, interest rates, and a bloody battle with inflation. There was no choice. In the U.S., a new hero emerged, Paul Volcker. Tall, relentless, with the spirit of gold standard discipline in his heart. He declared, "Inflation? I will crush it, whatever the cost." He raised interest rates to levels that made bankers faint. Companies failed, unemployment rose. It was economic horror, but it worked. Inflation began to crawl back into its hole. Fiat currency survived, but at the price of pain. The gold standard sighed, and they called me strict. Damn. Today's world, fiat in all its glory, time passed. People adapted. Paper money without backing became the norm. Kids grew up in a world where money meant numbers on a screen. Nobody asked, "Where's the gold?" Yet the spirit of the gold standard never truly died. Sometimes, when inflation flares, it whispers, "Remember me?" When currency had backbone. Enter the digital rebels. Years rolled on. Fiat ruled until something new arose from the internet's depths. Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, a digital revolt against central banks. We don't need governments. We need code. The gold standard blinked and said, "Well, I never would have bet that a programmer with a USB stick would replace me." Hyperinflation, when money burns faster than wood. Meanwhile, fiat currencies ruled on, and the gold standard tidied its monocle, asking, "Fine, you've replaced me, but can you at least do it with grace?" Then came something nobody wanted, hyperinflation. Not regular inflation of a few percent, but the economic nightmare where tomorrow's breakfast costs more than today's entire dinner. Weimar Germany, 1923. War reparations huge, economy shattered. Government said, "Let's print our way out." They printed and printed and printed. Soon people hauled wheelbarrows of banknotes. Kids folded banknotes into kites because paper was worth more than bread. Legends say someone stole a wheelbarrow but left the cash behind. It wasn't even worth hauling. The gold standard watched and muttered, "Told you so." Zimbabwe, 21st century. A beautiful country, chaotic economy. Mugabe expropriated land, controlled markets, printed money as a reward. Result? Hyperinflation so insane that they issued a $100 trillion note. Yes, 100 trillion. What could you buy? Maybe a roll, maybe not even that. Shops updated prices hourly. People stopped counting notes. They weighed them. The gold standard just laughed. "Sure, you've got it under control." Hyperinflation destroys trust, and trust is everything. Once people ask, why accept wages in a currency that's worthless tomorrow? Transactions stop, barter returns, foreign currencies take over. Zimbabweans reverted to US dollars. Germans use cigarettes and coffee. This isn't sci-fi. It happens whenever money is printed without thought. Cryptocurrencies, digital rebels versus paper empire. While fiat reigned and central banks toyed with rates like DJs mixing tracks, a new challenger emerged online in 2008. Amid the financial crisis, banks failing, governments bailing out, money thrown like confetti, appeared a name, Satoshi Nakamoto. Nobody knows who they are. Man, woman, collective, I from the future. But one thing is clear, they invented Bitcoin and started a revolution. Bitcoin was the answer to mistrust in banks and governments. A digital version of gold, limited supply, decentralized, no central authority, no printing. Here's a currency nobody can counterfeit, and you don't have to trust anyone. Math verifies everything, proclaimed the crypto movement. The gold standard, sipping its imaginary whiskey on history's balcony, chuckled. "So that's gold 2.0? It was. Bitcoin appealed to those who distrusted the system. Economists shook their heads. Politicians were baffled. Banks began to panic. Then came the altcoins, meme coins, the whole crypto circus. Ethereum brought smart contracts. DeFi let people lend, invest, and trade without intermediaries. The crypto world became the Wild West of the digital age. Some hailed it as economic freedom. Others cursed it as unregulated chaos. Meme coins like Dogecoin or Shiba Inu saw people buying digital dog pictures for millions. Economists tore out their hair. This isn't currency. It's a cult. Governments responded with regulation, taxes, bans. El Salvador adopted Bitcoin. China crushed it. The gold standard watched, amused and afraid. First you kill me, Then inflation runs wild. Then you invent code-based gold. And now you might regulate it back. Cryptocurrencies remain symbols of both hope and chaos, like the joker of economics, unpredictable yet impossible to ignore. Conclusion: the end of an era or the dawn of a new revolution. So we stand at a crossroads of past and future. The proud gold standard fell to the growing ambitions of modern economies. Fiat currencies, backed by nothing but trust, circulate like calm but dangerous predators, ready to strike in a crisis. Banks, governments, central banks, the heavyweight players in global finance. But what if a new revolution is truly coming? Cryptocurrencies, with their freedom and decentralization, ushered in a digital age where trust lies in code, not paper promises. Yet another player emerges: central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. Governments that once feared crypto now say, "You want digital money? Here you go, under our control." What does this mean? A return to fiat or something entirely new? With CBDCs, governments gain unprecedented oversight, tracking every transaction, direct control, even the power to impose negative interest rates on digital wallets. Every transaction could be under surveillance, and money itself becomes a tool of power. Where do we go from here? What role will cryptocurrencies play? Fiat money or new digital systems? Who will control money as the world shifts into the digital sphere? This battle is just beginning, and we're at the heart of it. Perhaps the next chapter in the history of money will be written on the blockchain. Perhaps fiat will survive by embracing new technology and forging a new kind of trust. Or maybe something else entirely will emerge. Who knows? One thing is certain: money keeps changing. And what will the next move be in the global economic game? Maybe one day we'll look back at fiat and someone will smile and ask, "Remember that paper backed by nothing but trust?" Then digital coins, cryptocurrencies, or CBDCs will arrive, and paper banknotes will become a thing of the past. Yet no matter what happens, one thing remains: economics is always dramatic.